and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J Loren Norris.
There's an old twangy country song that says, I've been cheated, been mistreated, when will I be loved? How many of you have felt in your leadership role, as you've worked your way up from discovery that leadership is where you're called to be to where you are today, you've discovered that you've been lied to, you've been cheated, you've been mistreated, you've been abandoned by those that you thought were going to lead you to greater heights, you've been betrayed by those that you thought you were leading them to greater heights, but instead they were taking advantage of you behind your back and, I don't know, maybe even embezzling money or sabotaging your business or destroying relationships. If you've ever been in that place, then there's something you know as a leader that has to change. That's what I want to talk about today on Leading Leaders.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and I know that having been a victim sometimes changes the way that you look at the world. Sometimes as a victim you feel like, well, it happened to me, it's probably going to happen to everybody. And so why don't I just get mine? Why don't I just get a little revenge, get a little even? Why don't I get back what was taken from me? Hurt those who hurt me. Do damage where damage has been done to me. That's a pretty common thing. In fact, it's human nature to think that way. But let me just tell you also, there's an old adage. It's a very old adage that says, "Woe to the nation when the slave becomes king." Now, a lot of people think that is actually about revenge, that when the slave gets their comeuppance, that they're going to get even with everybody that took advantage of them along the way. That's the primary thought, but that's not actually what happens. What actually happens is that the slave being promoted to king, the one who's always been pressed down and oppressed, becoming the leader, almost never gets revenge on the original oppressor. No. Instead becomes a worse oppressor of the people they used to be than a revenge artist on the people who mistreated them. So if you were a second-class citizen of some sort and you were taken advantage of and abused and asked to work too many hours and not given credit for the work that you've done, not paid amply for the work that you've done, not given the opportunity for promotion after all the work that you've done, betrayed and lied to by your superiors over and over and over again. If that was you and you lived that life as a second-class citizen and somehow, someday, the tables turned and you became the boss, it's unlikely that you would seek revenge on those who just promoted you. No, it's more likely that you will be more harsh on those that you left behind. That seems to be the reality that supports this adage, woe to the nation when the slave becomes king. They don't become the compassionate king that says, I know what happened to me. Instead, they become a worst tyrant. See, the reality, though, is that it shouldn't be that way. It is that way. Often it is that way, and that, I believe, is a problem. I also believe that good leaders learn from the mistakes that they've suffered through. They learn from the abuses that they've had to tolerate. They stand up and say, you know, it happened to me, and I saw how it happened, and I saw who caused it to happen, and I saw how the process went through, and I know what it cost me emotionally. I know what it cost me psychologically. I know what it cost me in lost opportunity. I shared a post this morning of the backstory that a lot of people don't know. I didn't know until I saw this little clip of the sale of the Denver Broncos. Back in the day when John Elway was their superstar, 5 Super Bowl competitions, winning 3 of those, I believe. There was a time that the team couldn't afford to pay him what they owed him. He had an enormous salary, and they were a little short. So they made a deal and gave him 10% of the deal and said, well, we'll give you 10% ownership in the company if you just, let us forego that deal. And then they came back later and said, we're still a little cash strapped. You seem to have more cash than the team. If you want to put in another X, we'll give you another 10% of that deal. All total, it was going to cost him about $35 million. Well, that would have given him 20% equity in the ownership of the team, which just sold for $4.6 billion, which would have made his share of that some $930 million. You can watch the clip on my Facebook feed if you'd like to see it. But the reality is there was a lost opportunity cost. How many times as a growing leader, a budgeting leader, a blooming leader, how many times have you found yourself in that place where the opportunity to do something phenomenal, fantastic, extravagant was just snatched away by a relationship gone bad, just taken out from under your feet by a tease into a new thing? And we don't necessarily see that all the time, except in hindsight. We look back and realize, wow, I really missed out on an opportunity there. I should have said yes, but out of fear, I said no. I should have said yes, but the relationship wasn't what I wanted it to be. I should have said yes, but I had already assessed my risk of not getting the promotion, not getting the next job opportunity. And because of the abuse that I was under, because I was being taken advantage of and betrayed, I decided to move on instead of saying yes. And now I have to look back and realize that was $1 billion no. $1 billion, very polite, no thank you. I think I can do better. See, a good leader recognizes those moments. And a good leader is willing to make the sacrifice to say, hey, I just want to let you know, I see your opportunities for success. I think you might be better than me. I think there are opportunities out there that I could never reach that I believe you can. And here are some of the pitfalls that I had to suffer through. Here's some of the mistakes that I had to endure, some of the abuses that I endured, and I want to help you avoid those. I want to point them out to you before they come so that you can sidestep them. I also want to help you see some of these opportunities so that they don't become opportunity costs or opportunities lost. I want you to be able to push forward. See, a good leader recognizes when talent comes along that this is not about a small pie and everybody's fighting for a piece of it. No, every time there's new opportunity, the pie expands in its size to accommodate the opportunity. But that's about a worldview. That's about perspective. And if you don't have the perspective that every opportunity that comes is new and every opportunity that comes increases the size of the pie, then instead you will see an opportunity coming and you will push everybody aside to get your portion of that. And you may want your portion to be bigger, but you don't realize the pie is bigger and you can't handle it all. See, there are a lot of opportunities that come that greedy leaders, selfish leaders, leaders who really aren't about the people, they're only about themselves. There are opportunities that come along that people will fight and scuffle and destroy and betray and lie to get that one opportunity because they're convinced this is my opportunity, this is my chance to do something greater. And I don't care if I'm the best at it or not, I want this opportunity. It's my opportunity. When that's the case, you're in a toxic environment. And if you're the leader with that perspective and that worldview and that opinion that this is my opportunity and I will take it at all costs no matter who I have to take it from, then you are the toxic leader. You're the problem. A good leader says, I want to give this opportunity to whoever it best suits. I want this opportunity to be maximized for whatever the opportunity is, but I also want the people that I lead to get the best out of it they can. And if that means that we all share it, fine. If that means that there's one of us that's better suited to take on this project, to move forward with this promotion, to take this new job or launch this new company or expand to this new location, then that's what I want to see happen, because I want the best for the opportunity and I want the best for my team. Now, if you trust that Zig Ziglar is right, if you help enough people get what they want out of life, you will get what you want out of life. If you practice that every day, then you're a good leader. If you also recognize how the abuses start, if you recognize how many people get taken advantage of, from salary caps to earning wages to how people are treated differently based on gender or race or education level, then as a good leader, you invest your time, your talent, your treasure, and your attention in fixing those things and bringing about that equality the best that you can. You look for people who have the skill set and the attitude to promote them without regard for those other things. Sometimes you break a few tried and true rules, and sometimes you reinforce some core value foundations and say, there's a reason that it is like that, and let me explain the reason so you can better navigate your way through it, so that if we need to change those reasons, we can. But this is the system we work within, so let's work within that system the best way we can. Yes, I agree. As Laurel Langmeyer has said, the system isn't broken. It was designed that way. Maybe it needs a redesign. Maybe we just need to realize the game that we're playing and play by the rules that are in front of us. I'll close with this. I was recently in a little pool hall kind of scoping out the competition because they do a weekly tournament there. Well, the kind of people that hang out there are a little different than the people I normally hang out with, but not people that I haven't hung out with in the past. And so I'm just kind of watching from the corner and listening to the conversations, and I get down on the table to shoot with a guy that I've never met before, and he makes a couple of shots and I make a couple of shots, and he makes a couple of shots and I make a couple of shots, and he looks at me and he says, you want to bet on this game? And I said, no. He's like, well, why not? I mean, obviously you think you can beat me. I said, I play because I like the game. I'm not here to gamble on the game. And I wouldn't gamble with this little house stick. I wouldn't enter a tournament with this little house stick because this thing is crooked and the tip is bad. He said, well, if you're good, it doesn't matter. Gotcha. I understand your philosophy. I'm getting a picture of the rules of the game. Then he makes a shot, and it bounces off of one of his own balls, and it goes into the pocket. I didn't move toward the table. He made the shot. He stands up and he goes, yeah, that's a S shot or a crap shot or a luck shot. I said, well, it's your ball, it's your pocket, that's where you intended to put it, right? He said, yeah, but we don't play by those BCA, BPA, whatever kind of rules. That's a bunch of crap. We play by house rules. And here, if you keep that shot without telling me that it's going to go off of that ball, then you're liable to get in a fight. Ding, ding, ding. Gotcha. I understand the rules. I don't care which sets of rules you play by, as long as I know that the rules that we play by are consistent. Now, this is a leadership principle that you've got to grasp. As a good leader, you're going to be in places where you've seen abuse take place. You're going to be in organizations where maybe you've even been the victim of that abuse. If that's the way the system is set up, then your job as a good leader is to recognize how the rules change. Play by the rules that are there. Play to maximize the rules that are there. Once you recognize the rules, once you know what they are and you can play within the rules and play within the system, you have an advantage because you're willing to play by the rules that are already established. That doesn't mean you have to fall in line with the same abuses. You can now take advantage of their rules and turn the tables on them. I do it all the time in billiards. Do it all the time in relationships. Whatever the rules are that you want to play by, I'm good to play by them. Just understand that whatever's good for you is good for me. Whatever's wrong for you is wrong for me. And whatever's wrong for me, I will hold you accountable for as well. A good leader recognizes the abuses of the past and doesn't repeat them. Good leaders are cycle breakers. They see the abuses, they recognize what's happened to them, and they say, we're not going to do it like that. Oh, we'll play by your rules, but we don't have to take advantage of people, cheat people, lie to people, betray people to find success. Every opportunity makes the pie larger. Let's share it. That's a good leader philosophy. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.